All right, so today on the channel, I wanna make a riff on a classic. I guess it's kind of a obscure classic. We're gonna be taking the Fu Manchu from 1947. We're going to be creating our own creme de menthe, but not really. And then we're gonna be making it into a highball. So we started with a Fu Manchu and we'll end up with a Fu Manjito. Anyway, I'm Andy and this is Mixing Up Tiki. And welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, welcome. We're gonna be going over some tiki cocktails, but we're gonna be putting our own little spin on them. If you've been here before, well, we're in for a little bit of a treat today because I'm gonna be showing you guys some of the techniques I've been working at in my own home bar to really save on space, refrigerator space, and make sure things are shelf stable. So as I mentioned in the intro, we're gonna be making a Fu Manchu. Well, at least that's how this episode started. I actually saw a Facebook post where somebody had made the Fu Manchu and I was like, wow, that looks really, really cool. I'm gonna go do a little bit of research on it. So one of the main things with Fu Manchu is that it uses creme de menthe. Now, if you're like me, I don't have creme de menthe. And honestly, I really don't feel like going up and buying a bottle, even of the crappy stuff, for like 20 bucks for something that I'm never gonna really use, right? Like I might make it in this. There's also Justin Voislav's Jade Idol, and then there's like the Grasshopper. That's really about it. So am I gonna really use creme de menthe a lot? No. So then I started looking at, well, what if I just made some homemade creme de menthe? Doesn't seem that difficult. And I actually found a video by Kevin Kos, which I will link in the description below, where he makes his own creme de menthe, but he uses a technique that I've been using at home, and I thought that was really cool. So the technique that Kevin uses, in order to get the mint flavor into the creme de menthe, he uses essential oils. He essentially combines peppermint essential oil with Everclear to make a peppermint essence. From there, he adds this to water, spirit, and sugar to make a liqueur. I set out and I was gonna be doing the same thing, but then I decided otherwise. Because at the end of the day, what am I even gonna do with any creme de menthe? Sure, I could make 250 milliliters, but do I really need it? And then it's just gonna take up shelf space. Instead, I said, well, what if I pulled that creme de menthe out, pulled that peppermint flavor out, and just used the peppermint essence and added that to the cocktail to add that flavoring. I can adjust the sugar and the alcohol in other ways with other ingredients. And that's what we have right here. This is peppermint essence. Although I didn't spell it right, I forgot a P, but you know, whatever. So let me show you guys how to make peppermint essence. To make peppermint essence, you are going to need peppermint essential oil and a high-proof neutral spirit. I'm using Everclear. In a mixing glass, add 56 milliliters of your high-proof neutral spirit. And 3.5 milliliters of your peppermint essence. And let this stir for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once it's done stirring, put it into a dropper bottle. I gave you a recipe enough for 60 mils or a 2-ounce dropper bottle. And then you have it. That's how we make our peppermint essence. And then we're gonna be using this peppermint essence along with these ingredients here to make our version of the Fu Manchu. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Fu Manchu was created in about 1947, although there's some reports of it being created in 1946. Now at first, I thought this was going to be a riff on the Dr. Funk, but it's not. It's actually completely, well, I shouldn't say completely different. Now that I think about it, the mint and the kind of anise flavor that we get from the pastis inside of a Dr. Funk are somewhat similar. So I can see how someone would take the Dr. Funk cocktail and then, you know, through a couple leaps and jumps here and there, get to the Fu Manchu. Now here's the recipe for the original Fu Manchu. 1 ounce of lightly aged rum, 1 teaspoon of green creme de menthe, 1 teaspoon of orange Curacao, 1 teaspoon of sugar syrup, half a teaspoon of triple sec, and half an ounce of lime juice. To be honest, those ingredients didn't sound well balanced, and I wanted to jazz it up a little bit. The green creme de menthe and this peppermint essence really reminded me of Mojito. So what if we took a Fu Manchu and a Mojito and put it together? And I'm calling this the Fu Manjito. And it's my cocktail that I'm gonna use to kind of showcase this peppermint essence that we made. So to make the Fu Manjito, you are going to need lightly aged rum. I'm going with the Denizen 5-year, orange Curacao. I'm going with Pierre Ferrand's, a rich cane syrup, lime super juice, water, green spirulina, and peppermint essence. All right, so as I just mentioned, when it comes to the kind of citrus in this cocktail, I'm using lime super juice, although actually my clear lime clone would work even better. I just happen to be out of it. If you wanna know how to make that recipe, I will link it up here in this card for my batched Jungle Bird episode. Where's this? No, it's this side, definitely this side. Anyway, let's get to building the cocktail. In a shaking tin, add 8 drops of peppermint essence, 1/4 teaspoon of green spirulina, 3 ounces or 90 milliliters of cold distilled water, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of our lime super juice, 3/4 ounce or 22.5 milliliters of our rich cane syrup, 3/4 ounce or 22.5 milliliters of our orange curacao, and 2.5 or 75 milliliters of our lightly aged rum. Now using a milk frother, just stir it up to combine the green spirulina. Now I'm gonna pour this into a SodaStream bottle and carbonate it. Drop a clear spear into a chilled Collins glass. Pour the SodaStream bottle down the side. Garnish with a mint sprig and serve with a straw. And there we have it, my Fu Manjito. Let's give this a try. That's wild. It tastes reminiscent of a mojito. There is these slight orange notes that we're getting from the orange curacao, but essentially this is basically just a mojito with the addition of a little bit of orange liqueur. The green is obviously coming from the green spirulina. If you didn't want this to be green, then by all means omit that. And honestly, I don't know if it's worth it because that stuff is a pain to work with. So I could definitely see it being just omitted and going for a more clear style cocktail, which I think would be really, really neat. And I might have to make one of those just to try it. But other than that, it's a good cocktail. We're taking a mojito, which is lime, mint, sugar, and rum, and we're just adding the orange curacao, the orange liqueur that we get from the Fu Manchu. But the Fu Manchu honestly isn't that far off from a mojito either. So honestly, this is a pretty easy play and an easy bridge to make. By the way, I've got a new setup that we're trying. I'm in my kitchen. I know there's a lot behind me. It might be a little distracting. I apologize. If you guys don't like this and you want me to go back to the other side, then by all means, let me know in the comments below. But I kind of like this better. I have more space, more room to move around. It's nicer for me. But if you guys don't like it, let me know. I'm happy to change it up. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Today's video was really all about how to make that essence and use essences in cocktails. Realistically, when you make an essence, you can add it to a cocktail individually. And what this does is you can dose it out as much as you want, right? So let's say I wanted a cocktail that needed more peppermint. I can add more peppermint essence without adding sugar or water or dilution or alcohol. And I get to dial that in as how I choose for each individual cocktail. Plus, this is enough for like, I don't know, hundreds of cocktails in this tiny little bottle, which doesn't take up any space and is shelf stable. So that's another reason why I've really started switching to essences when it comes to flavoring my cocktails. And I'm gonna show you guys a lot of other essences and a lot of other extracts that you can use to flavor your cocktails, like how you don't need to have cinnamon syrup hanging out and you can just use cane syrup and cinnamon extract. Anyway, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely go over and follow me on YouTube. And then the other ways that you guys can support the channel, which are really, really good for me, are subscribing on Patreon. That's the #1 way. That's how I can afford to actually make these videos. Buying these ingredients and making these ingredients is not cheap. So when you guys sub on Patreon, it really helps me out. I have one tier. It's $9 a month. Basically what you get for that is I am happy to show you behind the scenes stuff, and you get a kind of early release, no ads version of every single video that I put out. And I'm gonna be putting out more content on there as well. So definitely something to check out. It definitely helps me out. Also follow me on Instagram and TikTok, obviously. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, until next time, take it easy.